There are many examples in the Bible of people who are greatly restricted in their circumstances and don't have the freedom of movement that they would otherwise like to have. And I'm going to highlight a few of them in a few videos. Just first of all today, Joseph. Joseph, probably nearly more than anyone, was somebody who was desperately restricted. And we read of him from Genesis 37, of how he was thrown into a well by his brothers, and then he was sold on as a slave to Egypt, and there was subject to just whatever others wanted him to do or to go. He had no say over his own life. And it says that at the start of his time with Potiphar, the servant of Pharaoh, whose house he was in, that Potiphar saw that the Lord was with Joseph and had made him successful in everything he did. So even in this desperate restriction, way beyond anything that maybe we can imagine in our settings here in Ireland anyway, that God was with him and God blessed Joseph and used him. And it says that Potiphar handed over everything he had to his care, and it did not concern himself with anything except the food that he ate. Such was Potiphar's trust. But of course, Potiphar's wife made false allegations against him, and Joseph ended up in prison. And even there, the jailer did not have to look after anything for which Joseph was responsible, because the Lord was with Joseph and made him succeed in everything he did. So it was God's presence and Joseph's openness to God and obedience before God, even in the desperate restriction. So for all of this time, Joseph was desperately restricted, brought to a place he didn't choose himself. And yet maybe these famous words at the very end of Genesis, after Joseph had met his brothers. And Joseph said to his brothers, "You plotted evil against me, but God turned it into good in order to preserve the lives of many people who are alive today because of what happened." I don't highlight this to make little of the restrictions that we may face. They are challenging. I find them challenging and I do not want them. But let's just reflect on the heritage we have, that God the Holy Spirit is able to do far more than we can ever imagine in us, through us and around about us. It's in these times when maybe we have to say, right, God, it is your work and it is what you would do in me and through me and around about me, where we just have to let go to God. So be encouraged, even though maybe if you're like me, you don't always feel encouraged in these restrictive settings. We have some good people to learn from. Amen.